Hello and welcome to Salford Now. I'm Katie Brown.
And I'm Ian Tosiga. Coming up on today's show, I'm sure we're all feeling the pinch and the rise of costs at the moment. With the energy prices going up tomorrow, we'll be hearing from some of the stories of some of those affected by this.
With all the sunshine last week, you probably found yourself out on a walk. But would you ever think about going on an 82-mile walk for charity? That's exactly what one man in Salford is doing in April.
Discipline of running that far is beyond what your mind can. Your mind is saying to your body, like, so there's a real not to go too deep, like, but there's a real argument in your brain between one bit of your brain that's telling you that this is stupid, you need to stop and get some rest, and then the other bit of your brain that's a little bit more sadistic. And
reporter Adam Gooseman has more on this a bit later on.
And I'll be bringing you the latest in sports news and telling you all about Salford University's big win at Varsity 2022.
We're nip and tuck all the way, but there can only be one winner. The overall winner of Varsity is Salford.
We all have life experiences from our childhood that we share with each other and learn about. However, there is barely anything known about the experience of growing up in care. Grace Clark has been finding out what this is all about and how to combat this.
The Dumping Ground, Annie, Oliver. These movies and TV shows all have one thing in common. They feature the care system. And for some viewers, this may be their only understanding of what it's like to grow up in care. Care Leavers is an organisation that works to change that.
It's important that we come together to share our experiences, good and bad, and that we can learn from those conversations that can take place in a safe place that it's authentic, that it is the story of the people that actually lived it, rather than stories that people tell for us.
Amanda Knowles is the organiser of Your Life, Your Story, a group which invites care-experienced adults and their caregivers to come together and share their experiences with others.
Well, I think it's going well. I think people, will find the stories that are being told perhaps difficult to listen to, but also very enlightening. And as we go on through the day, I think they will hear stories from people that have been at the Your Life, Your Story events that will talk about how positive that experience has been for them.
Out of the 12 million children living in England, just under 400,000 are in the social care system at any one time. And right now, the number of children in care is over 80,000, an all-time high. With statistics like this, it's surprising that over 65% of people say they do not know anybody who's been in care, and it makes events like this all the more important.
It's the same way as, we look at black heritage and the female heritage and contribution to society. Over 500,000 people in this country, care experienced people in one way or another, and yet we don't really have a documented history of that experience, and so this is part of that process, really.
But you have to wonder if small meetings like this do enough to teach people about growing up in care and break the stereotypes that we see on TV.
I think, there's a role perhaps for schools in understanding. They certainly need to understand some of the children that are in school who are from a care experience backgrounds. Just make it mainstream, make it part of the heritage debate, make it part of understanding the fabric of society.
Care leavers continue to do their best to include more people in the conversation.
My mantra for Your Life, Your Story is tell it your way. Don't let somebody tell that story for you.
Following on with the cost of living crisis, we're now going live to our reporter Owen Adams, who is telling us how Cornerstone is helping the community.
I'm here in Langworthy Children's Centre and I'm in the toy library. Look at all these fabulous toys that we've got on display. Now it's all about switching up all your unwanted and old toys and bringing them in, and then you can rent out some new ones. And of course, it's important not to waste any as well. And of course, with the living crisis at the moment and the costs going up, it's important for families who may not be able to afford toys to come in and rent some toys out. And now I'm here with Caroline Lindsay, who works here at the Children's Centre. Caroline, what are your aims with the toy library and what days and times is it open?
Hi, yeah, the toy library is open every Thursday and Friday morning up until 12. It works in the normal way a library would. You can donate toys, get in touch with the reception, and you can come in and borrow toys for your children, and we hope that the whole community in this area can access.
And I believe you're starting up a scheme for refugees from Ukraine coming in. It's a good idea for them to come in with trade their toys.
Yeah, absolutely, because obviously we know that they're going to come without possessions, so it's really important that the children can still access and play and use toys, so that's why it's here for the whole community and obviously for the refugees as well.
And how can people get in touch and get involved?
We've got a Facebook page, so Langworthy Cornerstone, there'll be information on there. You can pop into the reception desk here and speak to a member of staff, and like we said before, you can just come in Thursday and Friday mornings up until 12.
Well, thank you very much, Caroline. As you see, loads of toys on display. Come and donate, and you can take home a toy yourself. This fella is coming on with me.
Continuing with this, our reporter Nadine Atsey has been finding out how this is impacting others in the community.
As the cost of living spirals upwards, so are concerns. Gail is a French lady who moved to the UK not too long ago, and is one of whom the cost of living is really affecting.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot because as I'm thinking about the butter, which is, I said, it's something that I like the flavor. It's the same thing with the salmon, and it's 70p that I need to add to my budget, and because of that, I cannot have a pleasure for me because it's, yes, nearly £1, and I don't have £1 to add. If I'm having a budget, it's because I need to respect that budget in order to be able to live. How I'm going to pay the bills, if I'll be able to make it, how I'm gonna do. It's that the prices they are increasing, but they don't give us a solution. They are talking about to do something with the fuel, the gas, but what's the solution for the food?
Not everybody is pleased with Rishi Sunak's spring statement from last week. The Chancellor announced a 5p a litre reduction in fuel, but he has been criticised for failing to help the worst off.
Personally, I don't think it's going to help a lot of people. He said that there was going to be a 5p tax cut on petrol, but it's gone up by 50p or whatever it is in the last however long anyway, as well as, you know, support that he says he's giving for the energy customers, but how much have they already gone up by it as well? So my thoughts are that I don't think he's doing the right thing for the country, but also there's going to be a hell of a lot of people struggling financially that are not going to be able to survive after his statement.
The amount of people that aren't able to afford basic daily essentials and everything is like at an all-time high, and reducing fuel prices and the other things that they have done isn't going to completely combat that. Yeah. It's not proportionate to the size of the crisis.
And now over to Hadassah Daniels, who's going to tell us more about what is going on in sport.
Varsity is back after a 2-year wait due to COVID-19. Salford University students and athletes headed over to Chester yesterday for a day full of competing and good sportsmanship. Teams competed in over 20 games and won with a final score of 15-14. I had a chat with some of the players to talk about how they were feeling after their games and if anything could have gone better for those who didn't do so well. First of all, how are you guys doing after the game?
We're a little bit tired, but yeah, it's been amazing, yeah.
Great. So, of course, you know, it was a really close call, 3-5.
For women, yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations. What were the main takeaways from the game then? What can be done next time to make sure that we're on the winning end of the game?
I think it was just one of those unlucky times where we'd lost a few and, you know, if we lost one, another one, and it kind of just added up on, but everyone tried out their best, and all of our singles players they fought right to the end. So a couple of our players as well haven't really played competition level badminton before, so for them it was really a baptism by fire. They were really the deep end.
Our rounders game, we I think we won that reasonably comfortably, and then our softball was I felt a little bit more pressure on that one, to be honest. And we were down at the end of the second innings by about 3 runs, and then I think everyone kind of realised that and just kind of brought it all together, and luckily we could get the win with that one.
We smashed our competition. So out of the 20-odd races, we won. I think we only lost about 5 or 6. Swimming did brilliantly, and obviously overall we won. So
we were in the middle about 2 o'clock. Unfortunately, we lost 8-2, and our women's team lost 7-1 as well. So not a great day for us, but we didn't necessarily expect to win. They're a league and a bit above us, so we were definitely the underdogs coming into it.
And overall, how was the experience?
Yeah, it was a great day. Obviously, loads of people going across, and then there was a big party afterwards when we were Salford was crowned champions. 15-14 overall, and yeah, a good result, and people seem to really enjoy it.
Do you ever wonder what serving soldiers get up to in their free time? Well, one man from Salford is going above and beyond to help support his community. We sent Adam Gooseman to find out more.
Probably what I would say is that nothing is impossible. Like, the only limit on anybody is your own mindset.
This is Joe Ferries, a serving Salfordian soldier of 19 years who is swapping his army boots for his running shoes to support grassroots football in Salford. On the 9th of April, Joe is running an 82-mile ultramarathon across the Dorset coast in just 24 hours, starting at Stutland Bay and ending at Charmouth. But he claims the Jurassic coastline shouldn't pose too much of a threat for the Salford man.
And I think that's very similar to military service, like especially when we talk about serving on operations in Afghanistan and stuff like that. When you're in extreme high stress environments and you're there to deliver a goal and a mission and an output, like, and ultimately that is what this event is, like, the output and the goal is to actually get to the end within the 24 hours, like, and that is all I will be focused on.
He has chosen to support Salford Lads and Girls Club FC and Ordsall Park Juniors FC, and with the money few and far between, the clubs are very grateful for his service.
He's an amazing guy. He doesn't need to do this. He's never forgot his roots. He's moved away. He's travelled around the country serving for the country. What he's doing is amazing. He comes back. The last time he came back in and he ran a session with the children. So he done like a military training session with them, you know, just like some drills. And the kids absolutely loved it. And I've no doubt that meeting Joe for some of them, you know, will be a turning point in their lives.
The government have announced that they are regenerating 116 grassroots football facilities this year in the UK, but hard-working fundraisers such as Joe have proven that the government need to do this on the double. Over the course of the 4 coronavirus lockdowns, grassroots football has seen more hard-hitting reductions in weekly subs, fundraising, sponsorship and returning players. Joe is also running this course for his good friend Robert McVoy, who tragically took his own life back in 2019. He still misses him to this day and hopes he will be on the front line by his side on the track.
But yeah, he was a good friend, and unfortunately, like, we just passed his 3-year anniversary, like, of him passing away, and yeah, it's hugely significant. Like, anything I can do to sort of honour his memory, like, and especially as the event is named after him now, like, is hugely significant for me. Like, and I'll definitely be sort of thinking about him while I do the event, like, and hopefully it gives me a little bit of more strength to sort of to get to the end.
He hopes to raise £1,000 for the 2 clubs, but he wants to send a bigger message to the children than just money.
If all else fails, like, just getting people outdoors and just experience nature, go running, get off the roads and get on the trails, like, because it'll change your world. Like.
Adam Gooseman, Salford Now, Ordsall.
I'm sure we all tried a home workout or 2 in the lockdown, but 2 years later, qualified visitor Rachel Wildman is still going with hers, teaching alternative fitness classes. She's here in the studio now with Grace Clark.
Right, hi Rachel.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So you run Wild Workouts, which is an alternative fitness class and group. So why don't you tell us a little bit, what is alternative fitness? What does that even mean?
Alternative fitness, it's not your everyday sport, it's not going to the gym, it's involving exercise around other equipment such as a pole or aerial hoops and silks, using different muscle groups and being around like-minded community that is non-judgmental, friendly and a load of fun as well.
And so how did that even come about? How did the idea for Wild Workouts come to be?
I've been polling since 2018 and I only come across the place a few times after plucking up the courage to actually go in, and for my own mental health went completely on my own and fell in love with it. And then last year in April it sadly closed, and just like me and other instructors cried buckets and thought, what does any normal sane person do? Just make their own studio.
Why not?
Yeah.
And so what was that process like, trying to start up your own studio kind of from scratch? Was that difficult?
Very difficult. It was really hard. Finding a unit to actually set up the pole studio was really hard. Not a lot of people like the use of being for a pole studio, so I had to be a bit creative. Once I found out what it was like, I was on board, but it was getting over those barriers, breaking down some barriers and the stigma of pole fitness.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think then that there is a stigma around these kind of alternative fitnesses? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's associated with, unfortunately, pole and pole dancing and strippers, and some people will say to me, oh, it's really great fun and really good exercise, and then some people will say, all right, so you're a stripper then? And I'm like, no. Really not.
And so I think it's a year, you told me, that since you decided to start your own studio essentially.
Yeah.
What does it look like now, a year on? What kind of community have you built there? And what are the kind of people who come in through your doors?
It's amazing. It started off obviously slow, just like any other business, but it's absolutely amazing the amount of people that have come in. It's very overwhelming the amount of people that have given me feedback saying that it's been great for their mental health. Like I've had so many like young women that have been depressed and have anxiety. That's even before COVID, and some that actually sadly do self-harm that have come in and said this is their therapy, this is their therapy session, and I feel quite blessed to actually give them that space.
That's amazing. What would you say to people who, you know, feel kind of a bit negative towards it or have a bit of that stigma around pole fitness? How do you think we can break that down then?
Normalising it as any other sport. You see people in two pieces on the beach. The only difference is that we've got a metal pole and we're using our upper body strength and gaining confidence along the way. So normalising it as just as a sport. I would love for it to be in the Olympics. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Now, that's all from us today.
We'll be back after the Easter holidays.
Goodbye for now and have a happy Easter.